Precision delay mod is a stereo delay with modulation, and it's got 5 different modes of operation and 6 different LFO possibilities. But what makes it unique and interesting, in my opinion, and separates it from regular delays is that we can dial in the amounts in both negative and positive values. So the amount that we want to mix in, we can have a negative kind of phase relationship to the original signal or a positive one. And same thing with the feedback that's generated. So that makes it interesting. Now I'm going to show it to you here on a clav track, and I'm going to play for you dry first. Now I have it panned a little bit to the left to begin with. It's the way I want it in the mix. And I'm sending to the UA precision delay mod on a bus. So I'm going to enable it. Now the first thing is I want to generate a kind of delay here. I'm going to put it in sync mode so that the delays can be synced to tempo. And we have 2 delays. I'll sync one to eighth notes and one maybe to dotted eighths for effect. Now because I'm sending on a bus, I have the mix value here in solo mode. So if it was inline, I could dial in the amount I want here, but this knob is actually irrelevant when it's in solo mode. It's just soloed at full value. So I've got my delays set to where I want, and I can dial it up to mix it in. Now here's where we choose the different types of delay. We have a dual delay, crossover delay, or a ping pong delay, and each of these modes determines how the feedback loop feeds the signal back into the left and right channels. And then we have chorus and flanger, 2 separate delays. I'm going to put it in ping pong delay where the signal is getting bounced from side to side. Now here we have a high pass and low pass filter, and I can set them to full on or filter the response. I'll filter it a little bit for now. And this is the amount of feedback that we want generated. So I'm probably not going to have too much feedback. Let's hear what it sounds like now as is. I'm just going to leave this off for now. I have a little bit more send dialed up than I ideally would like, but I'm going to do that now just so you can hear what's happening. We can mute each side, and we can link the 2 values if we want. We'll go with a little less feedback. Now here we have the modulation section. We can choose between the sine wave or triangle wave, and another thing that makes it interesting is that we can choose between different positions in the phase of the LFO shape. So we can start right at the beginning of the sine wave, at the peak of it, or at the other end of it, and same thing with the triangle waves. So I'm going to go for a triangle, and I'll start right at the beginning of the waveform, and we have the mod rate here that again is synced to tempo. And I think I'm going to slow it down a bit, maybe a half note, and it's simple. Here's the depth, and the actual speed is here. So let's dial in as much as we want. I wouldn't want more than that, but I'll dial it up so you can hear what it's doing. So you hear that modulation on the tail of the delays that are being generated, but just a little bit will go a long way. And here we can control the panning. They're linked so they can move together, or we can unlink them. I'm not going to go for hard panned, since I have this panned a little bit here to begin with. And then we have a final output gain. So that little bit of amount works nicely in this kind of tight funk groove instead of some reverb. A bit less feedback. And we can also control the actual output of the plugin itself over here. So maybe I'll just lower that. Let's look at it on the rhythm guitar part. Here I've got an inline on the guitar track. I've got some delay values set up. I'm using dual delay mode, and I'm controlling the mix from here. Now I've got it dialed up a lot in the negative phase area. I want to show you the difference between these positions. Now I've got a slow rate here of a whole note, and listen to the delays after the first chord in the 0 position compared to the 180 position. So we hear the modulation on the tail when it's starting at this position rather than hearing it on the first beginning of the note that's being hit. So let's go back there. I like it there better, and then I'll just dial in the amount I want. And I like this negative phase if it's starting in that direction. Although in a sine wave, it's a little less dramatic than in a triangle wave. But let's dial in the amount we want. Without it. It adds a nice thickening, a bit of delay, and a nice bit of modulation.